oftentimes how dangerous a law enforcement officer's job can be. Would you please join in the proper observance and the presentation of colors with the singing of the national anthem?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket
protecting what we hold most dear. We will never forget their sacrifice and unwavering bravery in the face of danger. To their families, fellow officers, and communities, we will always remember. Wyoming's peace officers demonstrate integrity, leadership, and courage as they serve and protect our communities. Former President John F. Kennedy once said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them." Today, we express our deep appreciation for our peace officers and their families. Bobby joins me in sending our best wishes. We continue to keep Wyoming's officers in our thoughts and prayers. With warm regards, Senator John Barrasso.
Representing the office of U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, Noah Jones.
Thank you for inviting me to speak here today on this solemn occasion. While I regret I'm unable to attend in person, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to share a few words. Each and every day, law enforcement officers across Wyoming put their lives on the line to keep us safe and uphold the law. While many of us are heading to work wondering if the coffee pot is turned on or how full our email may be, our law enforcement officers start each every day hoping they can make it back home safely to their families. Not everyone is cut out for this type of work, but it is critical we have folks in our state who are willing to put their lives on the line every day to keep us and all their neighbors safe. I join with others across Wyoming today to state our appreciation and thanks for all that you do. On this day, we are gathered to commemorate those who did not make it home. It is important we never forget them or their sacrifices, and that we remember them as the heroes they are. For those of you who are here today to remember a loved one, I hope you are able to find comfort in the fond memories you have for them. Thank you. God bless. Cynthia Lummis, United States Senator.
Representing U.S. Congresswoman Liz Cheney, Jordan Fisher.
Dear honored guests, thank you to the Wyoming Law Enforcement Academy for hosting the Peace Officers Memorial, which honors exceptional acts of bravery in the line of duty. Today, it is a privilege to recognize dedicated police officers in Wyoming and across the nation. Our law enforcement officials are the bravest among us, and they need to be treated like the heroes that they are. They are willing to risk their lives to keep our streets and communities safe, and the sacrifice they are willing to make every day allows us to live in a society where we feel secure and free. We owe them a debt of gratitude that we will never be able to repay. For all law enforcement officials, thank you for your commitment and devotion to keeping our community safe. Sincerely, Congresswoman Liz Cheney.
Whereas law enforcement officers are dedicated to public safety, enforcing laws, protecting citizens, and defending property, each year we remember those officers who lost their life while protecting and serving others. And whereas the Wyoming Peace Officers Memorial was erected on August 6, 1986, each year during National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Week, officers gather to pay respects, remember fallen comrades, and perform the somber duty of adding the names of those who died in the line of duty. The memorial currently bears the names of 68 who have died in the line of duty since 1877 from municipal, county, state, and federal agencies. And whereas the Wyoming Peace Officers Memorial is located at the Wyoming Law Enforcement Academy and is a standing tribute to law enforcement officers killed in Wyoming, it is also a day to honor those 551 officers who died across the nation in 2021. Now, therefore, I, Mark Gordon, Governor of the State of Wyoming, do hereby proclaim May 15th through 21, 2022 as Wyoming Law Enforcement Memorial Week, and Friday, May 20th, 2022 as Wyoming Law Enforcement Memorial Day in Wyoming and call upon all Wyoming citizens to show their deep respect and appreciation to the men and women who willingly risk their lives to protect ours. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the executive seal of the Governor of Wyoming to be affixed this 18th day of May, 2022, the Honorable Mark Gordon. Now please join us in reading of the names.
From Alabama, Madison Skip Nicholson, Buddy Ray Crabtree, Nicholas Nick Reisner, Willie Earl Hall, Jason Lynn Weiss, Richard Wendell Humphrey, Brandon Wyatt Ard, Harry Marvin Buddy Hutchinson, Juan Manuel Gomez Lopez, Maurice Jared Reese Jackson, Marquis Dewan Moorer, William Henry Smith Jr., Jeffrey Shannon Bain. From Arizona, Jeremy Martin Wilkins, Martin Barreros, Chad Owen Brackman, Abinal A. Perez, Michael Devin Rudd, Juan Miguel Ruiz, Anthony Nicoletti, Kendall Leroy Thomas, Michael G. Garbo, Alfredo M. Ibarra, Luis H. Dominguez, Chad E. McBroom, Alicia Dawn Carter, Matthew Aaron Hefter, Daniel P. Cox, Ruben Facio, Gennaro Allen New, Jeremy Allen Brinton, Christopher Allen Farrar, Jamie John Daniels, Don Shields, Joseph Henry Montgomery, Landon Tyler Britt. From Arkansas, Gary Lynn Bean, Joshua Lee Pearson, Frank Ramirez Jr., Christopher William Cummings, Danny James Guinness, Chandler Moore, Leslie Shane Green, Gregory Cleveland Holland, James Morgan, Kevin Dale Apple, Rick Emmiter, Hussein El Amin, James Robert Gardner. From California, Thomas Edward Stanley, Reuben Gene Warren Jr., Juan Cruz Jr., Tamala Lama Scanlon, David B. Ramirez, Scott Edward Merritt, Rodrigo Delgado, Joseph Edward Boberg, Robert Lloyd Travelstead, Harmindo Singh Greenwa, Monica J. Riola, William Ray Schwartz, Jeremy Wayne Hart, Philip Jesse Campos, Anthony Joel Redondo, Ryan Park, Jamie Huntley Park, Dominic David Vaca, Jimmy Artie Inn, Luca Pietro Benedetti, Michael Wall, Anthony Ray White, Alejandro Flores Benuelos, Crispin San Juan San Jose, and Jose Luis Anzora.
California continued. Thomas Joseph Albanese, Richard Paul Brown II, Gennaro Guerrero, Patricia Elena Guillen, Frank Gonzalez Alguin III, Philip Taclas Sedario, Frank Arnold, Adam Samuel Gibson, Ralph Edward Serrano, John Edwards Reynolds, Amelia Teresa Terry Martinez. From Colorado, Wayne Stephen Whaler, Joseph Andrew Pollack, Clay Zachary Livingston, Ty Allen Powell, Eric Joseph Shear, Miguel Angel Ortiz, Gordon David Beasley, Daniel James Duke Trujillo, James Allen Herrera, Eric Houston Talley. From Connecticut, Brian Eric Mole, Delaware, Corporal Keith Heacock. From Florida, Dominic Eugene Weeda, Miguel Rodriguez Jr., Joseph Joshua Welch, Yandy Sherino, Sylvia Laverne Allen, Kaylin St. Val, Terrell Kenneth Jordan, Derek Scott Asdot, Tony Lee Bruce, Joshua Joseph Moyers, Anthony Christopher Testa, Brian John Pingree, Clifford Dean Crouch, Michael David No, Timothy Gale Breedlove, David Bryant Saavedra, William Jackson Pravat, Daniel Eugene Watts, William Nelson Diaz, Clint Robin Siegel, Whitney Nicole Cloud, Sean Christopher Hearse, Paul Luciano, Douglas Lynn Clark, Michael Riley Wynn, Eric James Skilton, Christopher Broadhead, Harry Robert Chisneski Jr., Jody Hull Jr., Francisco Jose Tabar, Patrick Wayne Madison, Edward Perez, Yochimia L. Conyers, Jason Robert Raynor, Stephen William Mazzata, Raymond Orion Williamson, Robert Allen Williams, Michael Preston Taylor, Jennifer B. Sapo, Lazaro Roberto Febles, Michael Andrew Nowak, Lonnie Hempstead, Craig Sejos, John Alexander Cook, David Joseph Jean-Baptiste, Adam Dale Weisenant, Alexi Vladimir Aguilar, Carlos Antonio Hernandez, Shane Troy Owens, Kevin Andres Valencia, Jesse Peter Madsen, Horacio Dominguez.
Florida continued. Michael James Magley, Jack Edward Grimes, Laura Ann Schwarzenberger, Daniel Alphen, Juan F. Lanes, Louise Michael Levantino, Jacinto R. Navarro Jr., Brian Roy Lavigny, Georgia, Terry Lorenzo Primus Sr., Henry Laxon, Lena Nicole Marshall, Paramhans Dinashandra Desai, William Warren Gay, Richard Arnold McMahon, Dylan Macaulay Harrison, Timothy Michael Tanksley, Victor Dante, Michael Todd Thomas, Charles Ashley Smith, Sherman Peebles, Brandy Stock, Gregory Campbell, Alanthea Germaine Turner, Stephen Lee Marshall, Bobby Williams, Kimberly Montresa Barnes, David A. Horton, Michael McKinney, Yashika Anderson Stephen, Tara Leanne Cook, Jody Smith, William Jeffrey Yancey, Frankie Hannibal Gutierrez, Michael J. Stokes, Kenneth Kirkland, Joseph Manning, Christopher J. Batchelor, Rodney L. Davis, Sr., Nicholas Anderson Boudwell, Ramsey Odell Mannon, Dennis Dale Sylvester, Jr., Clayton Sanders, Brian Christopher Hawkins, Clinton Adolphus Martin, Joseph William Burson, Armando Chaz Mendoza, Christopher Wilson Knight, Barry Edwin Henderson, Justin Williams Bedwell, Richard Larry Odom, Grace A. Bellamy, David Eason, Jeffrey Robert Smith, Michael D'Angelo Garrigan, Wayne Douglas Snyder, Jerry Stephen Hemphill, Arturo Villegas, David G. Crumpler, Havonia Denise Holly, Nicholas Alexander Howe, Daniel Marcus Mobley. Illinois, Marlene Roberto Ritmanic, Sean Riley, Jeffrey De La Cruz, Nicholas Kozak, Tyler Timmons, Eka Grace French, Brian Russell Pierce, Jr., Chris Oberheim, James Kowski, Todd Anthony Hannikin, Gary Hibbs.
From Indiana, John Davis Starks, Anthony Waby Henshaw, James R. Herzl, Robert Wayne Nicholson, Greg Ferenczi, Thomas E. Sawyer, James Driver, Eugene Lasco. From Iowa, Richard W. Newkirk, Ted L. Benda, Broderick Richard Day, James K. Smith, Robert McFarland, Lorena Yanira Schulte, Stephen Rayard. From Kansas, Stacy Annette Murrow, Theodore James Olemeyer, Carrie Dick, Stephen Evans, Freddie Joe Castro, Clay Morsel, Germany. From Kentucky, Zachary Dale Cottingen, Robert Daniel, Oliver Little, Richard Longoria, Brandon A. Shirley, Hassan Hassan. From Louisiana, Adam Gaubert, Austin Spencer Bush, Trey Copeland, Randy James Guidry, William Earl Collins Jr., Stephen Christopher Arnold, Christopher Shane Simpkins, Martinus Mitchum, Charles F. Dotson. From Maine, Kenneth McCallum, Luke Ryan Gross, Keith A. Mills. From Maryland, Gregory M. Santangelo, Kiona Hawley, Christine Peters. From Massachusetts, Michael J. Dion, Loy Hu Ha, Emmanuel Familia, Michael Patrick Cassidy, Stephen R. Desfosses. From Michigan, Brian Vogel, John Joseph Wojciechowski, David Cook, Darrell Lamar Henderson, Kevin Kokinis, Ryan J. Proxmire, Darrell Dwayne Cross Jr., Fred Allen Posevitz. From Minnesota, Jaime Williams, Ronald William Smith, Ryan Andrew Bielke, Charlie L. Banks Jr., Sarah Ann Grell, Mark Edward Anderson. From Mississippi, Jeffrey Turner, Jer Kawer, Robert Day Daffin Jr., Lee D. Vance, John Harris, Thomas Patrick Barnes, Michael Butte. From Missouri, Lonnie R. Lejeune, Antonio Antoine Valentine, Logan Davis, Blaze Madrid Evans, Dennis Bennett, John Richard Bullard Jr., Robert Louis Walsh III, Sonny Lee Orban, Leslie Lentz, John Michael Bowie.
Nebraska continued. Justin Smith. Nevada, Ignacio J. Romero. Ronald Albert Penneforth. John R. King. Sean P. Hennessy. Hans Molina Terrazas. Micah David May. Jason Anthony Swagger. Gerald Bear Smith. Wayne H. Fortier. Jesse Sherrill. New Jersey, Matthew A. Fogel. David Formenza. James Perret, Matthew D. Razukas, John M. Phelan, Brian K. McAdams Sr., Hector Montoya. New Mexico, Jeffrey M. Montoya, Thomas Wade Frazier, Darian Girat. New York, Hector M. Nunez, Bernard Roberts, Leonardo Chavez, Moraes Matthew Murray Jr., John R. Lowry, Christopher Ryan Cockburn, Charles Vroom, James J. Monda, Sonny Clerge, Shantae Neal Barker, Stephen L. Rodriguez, Natalie Brill, Michael R. Mundy, Anastasio Sakos, Harry D. Anfreo, Andrew Day Stromfield, Annadelle M. Santiago, Joseph Gallagher, Terrence Conley, Charlie Mackey, William Broughton, Robert Van Zyl, Joseph Martini, Reginald Cooley, Peter C. Woods. North Carolina, Mia Daniela Figueroa Goodwin, Michael Shannon McDonald, Ryan Andrew Hayworth, Dennis Eugene Boykin, Oscar McMurtry, William Edward Marsh, Julio Cesar Herrera Jr., Donald William Ramey, Donald Hall, David Edwin McAlpin, Carl Proper, Julianne Harper, Liddell Graham, Eric Otis Ritter, Dennis R. Dixon, Robert Craig Klongmeyer, Christopher David Ward, Logan Shane Fox, David Parade, Brent Nelson Hall, Joseph Brandon Gore, LaShonda Owens, Anthony Lynn Hardy, Timothy Lee Howell.
North Dakota, Adam Gustafson. Ohio, Shane Bartek. Sean E. Vandenberg. Joshua E. Christick. David W. Reynolds. Boyd Wayne Blake. Robert Craig Mills. Scott Russell Dolly. Jason LeGroer. Donald Raymond Gilreth III. Brandon M. Stalker. Oklahoma, Howard K. Smith III. Edgar Buddy Pales Jr. John Lee Trout Sr. John Harris, Louis Franklin Canty, Kyle Jeffrey Davis, Matthew Ryan North, Oregon, Brian J. Gaunt, John Burright, Stanley Allen Burdick, Pennsylvania, Sterling David Heinbaugh, Jr., Christopher Mortensen, Stephen H. Armbruster, Kevin D. Redding, Rhonda Jean Russell, Scott M. Patton, Gary R. Tacone, Timothy Warner, Jason Michael Belton, Richard Charles Howe, Dung X. Martinez, James Edward Simonetti, Brian L. Rowland, Scott D. Slip Mahoney, Timothy John Sheehan, Ross Dixon, Monty Ray Mitchell, Tony M. Jordan, Puerto Rico, Jose Ferrer Pavin, Hermoso Garcia Torres, Juan Rosado Lopez, Juan Rafael Rivera Padua, Luis A. Marrero Diaz, Luis X. Salam Condi, Eliezer Hernandez Cartanega, Rhode Island, Richard Carshia, Gino Caputo, South Carolina, John Stewart, Stephen Jones, Dustin Michael Beasley, Tommy W. Cudd, Edward John Marcerella, Jr., Melton Fox Gore, Jonathan David Price, Gordon William Best, Tennessee, Mikhail Lewis Hill, Dale L. Wyman, Vassar Richmond, Daryl Dwayne Adams, Teresa H. Fuller, Joshua Wayne Stewart, Gregory Lynn Triplett, Matthew Locke, David Miller, Jimmy Alexander Schindler, Edgar Morris, Derek E. Sidwell, Lakeisha Tucker, Roger A. Mitchell, Ray W. McCrary, Jr., Christopher Scotty Triplett, Terry Dyer, Willie Luis Dortch, Kinney Lynn Gibbons, Toby Keyser, Cecil Nunley.
From the state of Texas, Wayne Butch Noel Jr., Miguel Alado Mike Sanchez, James Dement, Jack Lee Guthrie Jr., Eric Lindsay, Richard Houston II, Salvador Martinez Jr., Toshia Harper, Kevin Dupree, Rosa Eliza Vasquez, Sherman Otto Bennies Jr., John Edward Moon, Scott Harn, Thomas Christopher Hutchinson, Raphael G. Sanchez, Michael David Dunn, Joshua James Seaman, Tracy Joe Dotson, Andrew Robert McDonald, Kareem Atkins, Rodney L. Monahan, Raquel Virginia Saunders, John D. Wilbanks, Thomas Scott Calora, Garland Cheney, Melissa Maldonado, Charles Hughes, Connell Foreman, Philip David Barron Jr., Anarfo Pargas, Cletus Sherman, William Jeffrey, Richard John Frankie, William Howard Rigel, Michelle Gaddy, Ernest Oldham, Chris Watson, Noah Ryan LeBlanc Sr., Shad Hammond, Jose A. Hernandez, Roland Acevedo, Roberto Carlos Cantu, Dustin Slovacek, Echo Rodriguez, Jonathan Andre Terez, Cody Whitley Turner, Dustin Wainscott, Glenn Wainscott, Glenn Skeens, Robert Troy Joyner, Huey P. Primus III, Robert C. Yacan, Ronald Rudy Butler, Renato Antonis, Michael Allen Keithley, Gregory R. Young, Carlos David Ortiz, Lakeisha Monique Brantley, Jason Donaldson, James N. Henry, Sevi Ures, Christopher Ray Wilson, Anthony Stanley, Randolph Boyd Jr., Slay Garrison, Manuel Christopher Widner, Matthew Adam Jimenez, David Ruiz, Tomas Infante Sr., Kushin Johnny Wang, Joe Oliverius, Ricardo Zarate, Sean Christopher Waters, Louis Andy Andrew Taylor, Edgardo Acosta Feliciano.
Texas continued. Gilbert Clayton McClure, Albert R. Gomez, Daniel Giorgi, Ricky Neal Roberts, Tom Larry Hubler, Joshua Blake Bartlett, Juan Alfonso John Delgado, Clinton Joseph Venturca, Paul Keith Mooney, Dustin Kyle Speckles, Juan Manuel Urita, Samuel Alexander Leonard, Stephen Jones, Freddie Vasquez, David Allen Marshall, Alexander David Guads, Jimmy Garcia, Luis Arturo Hernandez Sr., Chad Michael Walker, Tracy Adams, Carlos Mendoza, Troy K. Morin, Tewo C. Obele, Esteban Stevie Ramirez III, Manuel Felipe de la Rosa, Mitchell Aaron Penton, Vicky V. James, Eddie B. Hutchinson III, Pedro Jr. Pete Mejia, Robert Perez, Joseph Anthony Cisneros Jr., Julio Cesar Martinez, Robert Allen Mayer Jr., Beverly Good, Treva Preston, Alfred Jimenez, Juvencio Garcia Jr., Sherry K. Langford, Richard Anthony Cipolio Sr., Camarino Santiago, William Lyle Gardner, Randall Sims. From Utah, J. Adam Ashworth, Hugh Boyd Bennett. From Virginia, Michael D. Chandler, James Anthony Sisk, Charles Wayne Catrone, Bonnie Nicole Jones, George Gonzalez, Jose R. Rivera, Dominic Jared Winnoom, Frederick H. Butch Cameron. From Washington, Bradley K. Cam, Eric T. Gunderson, Daryl Scout Goodrich, Jr., Jonathan M. Gum, Jeremy Brown, Gabriel Forrest, Alexander Brenneman Harris, Cesar Dangaran Sibonga, Jay Hughes, West Virginia, Adam Ray Arbogast, Michael Andrew Silman, Vincent A. Gala, Jr., Craig Allen Kreiner. From Wisconsin, Chad P. Christensen, Daniel A. Stainbrook, Daniel J. Daly, Joseph J. Curer, Daniel Lynn Craybaum.
Following are a list of names of Wyoming officers who have lost their life in the line of duty. Robert Whittlefield, Carbon County Sheriff's Office, 1878. H.H. Vinson, Carbon County Sheriff's Office, 1878. Edward L. Lloyd, Johnson County Sheriff's Office, 1886. George Wellman, U.S. Marshal Service, District of Wyoming, 1892. Edward N. Dawes, Uintah County Sheriff's Office, 1895. Josiah Joe Hanson, Converse County Sheriff's Office, 1899. Charles B. Holden, Uintah County Sheriff's Office, 1901. W.C. Ricker, Natrona County Sheriff's Office, 1902. Louis Falkenberg, Weston County Sheriff's Office, 1903. William H. Miller, Weston County Sheriff's Office, 1903. John Baxter, Rawlins Police Department, 1903. Thomas J. King, Rawlins Police Department, 1903. Alfred H. Bath, Albany County Sheriff's Office, 1908. Daniel C. Hanson, Cokeville Town Marshal, 1912. William H. Veith, Sheridan County Sheriff's Office, 1914. Thomas Harris, Rock Springs Deputy Marshal, 1915. Frank B. Roach, Laramie County Sheriff's Office, 1916. Hugh H. Petrie, Cheyenne Police Department, 1919. John Buxton, Wyoming Game and Fish, 1919. Tom Majors, Natrona County Sheriff's Office, 1919. George E. Price, Hot Springs County Sheriff's Office, 1921. William S. McPheron, Sheridan County Sheriff's Office, 1921. George F. Radden, Casper Police Department, 1923. Arthur E. Osborne, Laramie County Sheriff's Office, 1927. C.M. Cosby, Albany County Sheriff's Office, 1927. Edward Goodfellow, Hot Springs County Sheriff's Office, 1927. Frank Bedford McFarland, Hot Springs County Sheriff's Office, 1927. Charles Gatza Jr., Cheyenne Police Department, 1934. Charles E. Lewis, Powell Police Department, 1939. D.M. Barker, Park County Sheriff's Office, 1939. Arthur A. Argento, Park County Sheriff's Office, 1939. Orwell H. Linneberry, Park County Sheriff's Office, 1939. Don Simpson, Wyoming Game and Fish, 1945. Bill Lakeman, Wyoming Game and Fish, 1945. Clifford E. Smith, Glen Rock Town Marshal, 1946. Jack N. Jerrigan, Cheyenne Police Department, 1954. Edward Phillips, Sweetwater County Sheriff's Office, 1961. Norbert E. Tuck, Laramie County Sheriff's Office, 1961. Charles E. Calvert, Wyoming Game and Fish, 1965. William R. Barnett, Wyoming Highway Patrol, 1965. Alan St. Clair, Wind River Agency, Bureau of Indian Affairs, 1965. William Edwards, Teton County Sheriff's Office, 1969. Boyd L. Hall, Teton County Sheriff's Office, 1972. Francis Gradert, Wyoming Game and Fish, 1973. George W. Henderson II, Wyoming Division of Criminal Investigation, 1973. Dwayne L. Hardigam, Albany County Sheriff's Office, 1979. Pete Visser, Wyoming Highway Patrol, 1981. Clifford D. Stevens, Wyoming Game and Fish, 1983. Craig L. Schulte, Campbell County Sheriff's Office, 1883. John R. Hardy, Gillette Police Department, 1983. Robert A. Van Allen, Jr., Laramie County Sheriff's Office, 1985. Kirk D. Inberg, Wyoming Game and Fish, 1991. K. Henry Bowles, Wyoming Game and Fish, 1992. Harley L. Mark, Torrington Police Department, 1993. Robert E. Mon, Jr., Yellowstone National Park, 1994. Ryan Francis Weltham, Yellowstone National Park, 1994. Steve M. Carrera, Fremont County Sheriff's Office, 1995. Delvin L. Dixon, Rawlins Police Department, 1996. Chris L. Lodgson, Wyoming Highway Patrol, 1998. Dennis M. Shook, Cheyenne Police Department, 2006. George Bill Stanford, Cheyenne Police Department, 2007.
If there are any family members or representatives of our fallen officers who wish to approach the memorial to offer items of remembrance, please do so at this time. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you all for coming, and God bless.